Jews. What's all that about?
It looks like it's being emphasized to these kids, hey, just get in a vehicle and ram it into some Jews.
If Palestinians put down their weapons today, there would be no more violence. If the Jews put down their weapons today, there would be no more Israel.
What's the bigger issue here? It's a civilizational issue. It's a battle between different visions of how societies should be organized. Do the Palestinians have the right vision? If so, we should all be thinking about organizing our societies in the manner that they do. If not, then we should be perhaps being a bit more careful in where we lay our support. When you say something like Queers for Palestine, or as I did a clip recently, because I love that analogy, like saying chickens for KFC, you're not quite understanding the full picture. Because if you are a so-called member of the queer community, then maybe it's probably not a good idea to place your support with a society that would probably not be very nice to you. And typically, they like to use you as a participant in an experiment on gravity, where they look for a building and then see if gravity applies to you.
Oh boy. فلسطين بدهم يحاربوا وبضحوا بدمهم عشان فلسطين. أنا بدي أهزمهم بالحرب. I want to fight against them and defeat them in a war.
بدي أهزمهم.
Wonder where she got that idea.
They teach us that all of Palestine is ours. The Jews lie.
إنهم يقولون إنه الهيكل تحت المسجد الأقصى ولا مرة إنه يكون الهيكل تحت المسجد الأقصى.
It was never. Muhammad didn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
اليهود.
I hate the Jews.
بعلمونا إن الصهيونية هم أعدائنا وهم أهم شيء لازم يسوي فيهم عملية. يعني إنهم
So this kind of touches on what you just said. These kids didn't think about these things. They didn't research these things. They didn't, they didn't analyze these ideas. They did not think, okay, what is right and what is wrong? Does this make more sense or does that make more sense? They didn't even learn to do that. They were just told things from their parents, their elder, their environment, their school, as the point of this video is, and they are just indoctrinated with these basic ideas. And they learn to simply hate the other side and to kill the other side. And this is nothing. I think there are some spots where you learn where you hear some really, really bad stuff as we move forward.
Think about this. So we're talking about how these kids are raised with these ideas, but I mean, you have kids in the U.S. I mean, Daniel Hakikachu, what do you think he's training his kids? What do you think Jake and all these guys are telling their kids, right? Pretty similar things, except, the big emphasis on child marriage is good, wife beating is good, killing apostates is good, and they're raising their kids with all this stuff.
يعلمونا بالمدرسة إنهم إرهابيين بيحكوا لنا عن اليهود إنهم هدول مش منيح وهدول بقتلوا قاعدين بشبابنا بيحكوا لنا هدول غدارين وبيحكوا لنا إنه هدول بغضونا هدول مش منيح إذا بطعن بدعس عليهم.
This kid says, I am ready to stab them, to put a knife. I'm ready to stab a Jew and to drive the car over them.
العمليات الدعس عمليات الدعس عمليات الطعن والاشتباك المسلح في المخيمات.
We have to drive them over, shoot them, stab them. I mean,
notice how they're kind of being prepped, right? I mean, You saw multiple times it came up, drive over them. right?
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah.
we saw this in Europe and the U.S., where if you didn't have a gun, no problem, take your van or your SUV or whatever, your truck, and plow it into a crowd of people. And it looks like it's being emphasized to these kids, hey, just get in a vehicle and ram it into some Jews.
Yeah, yeah. And I brought this up the other day when I showed this video. I brought up how these kids, they learn this stuff. They think that this is normal. They grew up with this. They learn that this is basically their goal as the people of Palestine, as they are told. And by the time they are adults, it has already been so entrenched in their way of thinking and their way of living that it has become part of their entire meaning of life, to basically hate, to fight for Palestinians, to hate the Jews indiscriminately, to kill them, to stab them, to drive a car over them, and so on. When you then are encountered, when you are then when you then encounter one of these people, and these people actually act violently, who exactly is to blame here? Is it that child that grew into an adult who learned these horrible things? Is it the parents who taught the child these things? But then you think about the parent, and the parent probably also grew up with the very same methods and the very same indoctrination. So can you really blame the parent? No, you have to blame the grandparents, but hey, they were also raised with that kind of stuff. Can you blame the school? But the people who teach them these things in the schools were probably also raised with this. So where does it all go to? And I don't know, where I see just one source for these horrible ideas, one source that makes people think this way, that teaches them these things, that normalizes all of that, is Islam. If Islam was absent from their lives, we would see much less of that. And we know it. We know that Islam is. We know that the Quran is full of hating the disbelievers, fighting the disbelievers, making Islam superior. That the Jews are, the worst of the disbelievers. We know that the Hadiths say that Muhammad prophesies that the Muslims will fight and kill the Jews, and even the rocks and trees will say there is a Jew behind me, come and kill him. If you removed those aspects, this would, the impacts would decrease dramatically, I would say, and there would be much more hope to eventually get rid of all this hate that they learned from a young age.
So the idiot who think that if he sign an agreement with the government, that means he's signed an agreement with the Muslims. Most of those governments don't even represent the population. So the stupid ones is the one who goes to support the enemy economy just because you want to have a suntan on your skin, or you want to visit an ancient building in Egypt, and then you risk your life and you pay for it. Did you sign a peace agreement with Emirat? Let us see what will happen in Emirat. In Emirat now they are collecting every Israeli, taking them into protection, the government, because they fear the population, they would do something. Which country you have a very good relationship with? Azerbaijan? Which one? All of them, they are your enemy for a very simple reason. Muhammad is their prophet, and he is the one who said, kill them wherever you find them. This is the former Prime Minister of Israel. This maniac, just a few weeks before...
Here's Anna Navarro actually making sense.
As a child, I lived through a civil war in Nicaragua, nowhere near the violence and the level of arms that we're seeing right now. But I know what it's like to be a child caught in the crossfire and the violence and the death created by adults. The way I feel about this is it's heartbreaking. And if you are human, you've got to be just as sad to see innocent children, whether they are Palestinian or whether they are Israeli. The problem is that Hamas doesn't care about Israeli children or Palestinian children. What they care about is only one thing: wiping Israel off the face of the earth.
That's right.
That is their sole purpose of existence. And I was reminded of a quote that I'm going to paraphrase from Golda Meir, a premier of a prime minister in Israel in the past. And she said, if Palestinians put down their weapons today, there would be no more violence. If the Jews put down their weapons today, there would be no more Israel. And that is the problem. Yeah. That is the problem, that for Israel, this is about existence.
And crazy times make strange bedfellows, right? So these are lefties who I don't know that anyone in this space has been more critical of these women related to everything. And I think that their confusion around leftism and what has been happening in America and the culture wars has led to a lot of this. It really has. But finally, and this is, I don't know, it's a mystery of life, I suppose, that something so insane, so brazenly shocking, so unbelievably horrible could happen, and then boom, the gates are open. And now, once the gates are open, the truth will set you free.
But I know I'm in America, I know you people love God and all that. So let's pick on a few more religions and make it fair, all right? Jews. What's all that about? What's with the curly sideburns? Where in the Bible to say, if thou loves me, thou shalt look like a dick? Next religion. Isn't Buddha a fat bastard? That's all I've got on Buddha. One more. Muslims. Can you feel that? One word, one fucking word. And all your assholes shrunk up and went, oh, make it good, Australia, man. Don't fuck this up. Because you think when I say Muslims, I'm about to be racist, don't you? I'm not racist, I'm a bigot. It's completely different. And being Muslim isn't a race. I'm not talking about Arab people. I have no problems with Arab people. I like to eat food late at night. I'm talking about Muslims. I'm not talking about terrorists. Every comic does a Muslim joke, does a terrorist joke. Oh, obviously, most of them aren't terrorists. I'm talking about the things that we know as shit. The fact that the women have very few rights in their culture. Now, it sounds good in theory, but in a modern society, it should be frowned upon. I don't think I could be a Muslim because they can't eat bacon or drink beer. And they're like the two greatest fucking things in the world. You take bacon and beer away from me and I'll fly a plane into a fucking building.
Silhouettes of you are like a taunt. Never really know just what you want. With you I don't ever feel calm. I can feel the sweat inside my palms. Play with me like cats and a string. You don't understand the pain it brings. You don't ever wanna give me wings. You don't ever wanna set me free. You know I'm addicted to you, and it's twisted, you've been gifted with the evil voodoo. Got me coming back for more, even when I've been screwed. Dolls full of pins, pierce my heart straight through. I got issues in my head, I like you in my bed, but you keep me on red. Oh, everything is like a test, I better not text or I'll come off desperate.
But if I lay down and